There we go. Okay. Thank you, God, for everything. Biblical word study, one word at a time. That's what we're doing. And right now, we're coming out of the sorrow, the mourning, the lamentation, all the black and negative stuff, which really isn't negative. It's all good stuff. And we're going to head into a little bit of light, and we'll do white and black. So they're in contrast, but there was some good things that we ran into. And on the McClinic and Strong, this is color in McClinic and Strong. And if you have the book, the physical book, it's on page 416 of the volume 2 CD. But if you're doing it online here, I got this on page 98 or 99. And let me just start reading here. I'm going to close the book because if I go back and forth from the book to this, it'll just get confusing for me. But then again, I might need this all because I got some numbers written in the book. All right, 3022, 3088, good. Okay, so the highest, and this, when you look up color, it gives you all the colors and it tells you about them. And we know that most of the colors that they talk about in the Bible, they're not that they're not close, but they might not be the same color, like the emerald. When you see emerald in the Bible, usually it doesn't mean the green emerald that we think. It usually means something that's bright and clear, and chrysoprasus and all that. So we really can't go by what we think of these colors. Jasper, what's jasper? And the other ones, talcum and all those other colors, but they have some basic colors in the Bible, and the Hebrews, they really weren't too crazy into colors, but it says here the highest development of color in the mind of the Hebrew evidently was light, and hence the predominance given to white as its representative. So this feeling appears both in the more numerous allusions to it than any other color. And you see Lucos there, and that is 3022. I should have these up here, but I don't. 3022. That's white. That's the word Lucos means white, and actually you see light there too. Theological Dictionary 4, 241. I don't have it. I do have it here. Did I start looking at it? No, I got no marker in the book. So 241. Light, bright, brilliant, dazzling white. Okay, so in the variety of terms by which they discriminated the shades from a pale, dull tint, black, and the word is Hekesh, 3554, 3554. No, that's not it. 3544, excuse me. 3544. Dark, somewhat dark. So one of the words that this is talking about here is kehe, somewhat dark, darkish, dim, and how they differentiated between this, the blackish, up to the most brilliant splendor. So they go from this color, hekesh or heke, up to the most brilliant color, and splendor. That's in Ezekiel 8:2, and that number, I'm looking 8. Ezekiel 8:2 is 2096. So let me put these two here. 2096. Where was I? 2096. 2096. I might even have this up there. So that's the brightness. Yeah, I do. Zohar. So they go from, in the Hebrew mind, they got this Kehe, which is the somewhat dark part, and it goes all the way up to the spectrum, all the way up to this brightness, which is Zohar. in the comparisons by which they sought to heighten their ideas of it, an instance of which occurs in the three accounts of the Transfiguration, where the countenance of robes are described as like the sun and the light, shining, exceeding white as snow, glistening, which is actually glycering. Snow is even used. So I put those verses up already. You saw them. Let's see if I can run across them again here. Oh, here we go. And this was Jesus. He was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. So his face did shine. That's lampo. We throw it up here. Lampo, shine, give light, to shine. There's 7 instances of that. 28, do I have it written down here? I'll put it down there anyway. 2989 lampo. I should open up a page for that, but I'm not. To shine as the sun. And they'll use this helios, the word helios, as describing the brightness of this color, this light. And his raiment was white, and we got the lukos as what? As light. I'll put it up over here. Phos, and that's the word for light. I am the light. Jesus has said, I'll come to the light. I'm the light. Phos is the light, and it's over 70 times in the Bible. It's in Theological Dictionary 9, page 310, if you want to write that down. And then another instance describing basically the same thing is just a little difference between the words, where he says exceeding, is shining here. He says stelibo, and it's one time in the Bible. I looked this up. Stelibo, and I took it away because I wasn't going to go, because it was only like a couple of pages. I should have left it up here. Stelibo, it's 665. 665. Stelibo. Yeah, I got it up here. It's only in 9:3, and the word is used as glistening of Jesus's raiment at the Transfiguration. And it's worth noting that the parallel account in Matthew 17:2, which is in large measure literally the same as that of Mark, except they have a different word in there. It has Luca Leon, an explanation of this stelibonata, and he strengthens the explanation by the relative clause, of which there are various renderings in the manuscripts. Shining white garments are characteristics of epiphany stories. So whenever you see like an epiphany or something like that, it's always like bright, shining, white, glistening, right? Even when the angel, and that's over here, the angel in Matthew 28, put it in context. He says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake. And the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door. And he sat upon it. And what did he look like? His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. So his countenance was like lightning. His countenance was like astrape. Astrape is lightning, and astrapo means to lighten or to shine. That's 796 and 797. I didn't like these down because I didn't want to go too crazy into it, but these are good words to talk about when you're talking about white and bright and shining and glistening and things like that. And the snow and also the moon is described as being white, and bread is described as being white. So these two words, 796 and 797, astrapo, and it comes from what? It comes from aster, which means star, probably from the base of astronomy, which means to spread or to straw or to spread or to furnish. Okay. Probably from stereos, which means strong, sure, or steadfast. And of course, everybody knows this one, histeme, to stand or to set or to establish. So all of these words are connected. Lightning, and his raiment was white. We know that. That's lukos, as a snow. Kion is snow. And there's 3 times in the Bible here. You'll see the word snow. Matthew 28:3. Mark 9:3, when it talks about his raiment of Jesus, right? And then Revelation 1:14, his head and his hairs were white like wool, and wool is another one that describes the whiteness. White like wool, and that's Erion, Erion. It's 2 times in the Bible. Throw it up there real quick, 20:53, and also in Hebrews 9:19. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled both the book and all the people. So you got another more red and white in here. And his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Punched him in the eye, poked him in the eye. So those are the 3 times you'll see this word, snow, kion, in the Bible. Did shine, that's 17:2. So white is the color of light and life, of the priest, the victor, and of heaven. But only Mark has the uncommon word. He seems to have interwoven it into his original. The word is not an embellishment, as in the Septuagint. It is used to denote that which glistens, and it's also used in connection with clothing. So we're not going to go back and go crazy with the Septuagint, because you'll run into all kinds of words with that. So we got that 17:2, 9:3, Luke 9:29, Luke 9:29. And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment was white and glistering. And we said that glistering was 18:23 is ex astrapo. So it's better than astrapo. It's ex astrapo. It's more glistening. Okay, it's 18:23 one time in the Bible. Luke 9:21. Okay, so I read that already. I'm not going to. This is from the Theological Dictionary. I'm reading from the interpretation of this word in the New Testament as a synonym, and I'm not going to go crazy looking at all of these. Acts 21:21, Acts 21:21 were synonymous words with this here. And they informed thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying, what? It's 21:21. Nothing to do with that. So stroikio, 21:24. 21:24. Here, to take them and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they are informed concerning thee are nothing. What is this word here? Wait a second. Purify thyself. This is hagios. No, I don't know. This guy's getting off on different things here. That's why I didn't read it, and I shouldn't be reading something that I really didn't get into here. So I'm going to close this up. As far as that, the word white there. All right, we're closing that out from the Theological Dictionary, and we're going to get back to this here, because there's more stuff in here. Shining, exceeding white as snow, glistening. Snow is even is used 11 times in a similar way. The sun 5 times, wool 4 times, milk once. In some instances, the point of comparison is not so obvious. For example, in Job 38:14, they stand as a garment, in reference to the white color of the Hebrew dress, Job 38:14. Job 38:14. I'm just curious what the word is here. 38. Making this hard on me now. Here we go. 14. They turn clay and they stand as a garment. A garment. Clothing, garment, apparel, vesture, raiment, vestments. Clay to seal, a signet, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. So it was probably the 38:15 that they wanted us to look at. But you still, the garment is still there, and they're talking about the clothing and the garment. It is turned as clay to seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken off. So it's talking about the garments of the priest, most likely. All right. So 30, and they stand as a garment in reference to the white color of the Hebrew dress, right? And in Psalms 68:13, where the glancing hues of the dove's plumage suggest an image of the brilliant effect of the white holiday costume. Next to white, black, or rather dark, holds the most prominent place, not only as its opposite, but also as representing the complexion of the Orientals. There were various shades of it, including the brown of the Nile water, which his name is Sihor, and the reddish tint of early day, to which the complexion of the bride is likened. That Song of Solomon. That's why I had there. They got 610, but it's 510. As well as the lurid hue produced by a flight of locusts. So that's getting into the black and the darkness here. This other one, that's the color. And I want to get into further on down, Revelation 6. Okay, further on down here, that's red. Okay, and we'll pass the red. And here's white here. Okay, white. Okay. The most common term is Laban, which is applied to such objects as milk in Genesis 49:12, manna in the Exodus 16:31, snow in Isaiah 1:18, horses in Zechariah 1:8, and raiment, Ecclesiastes. And the cognate word expresses the color of the moon, Isaiah 24:23. And I looked up all of these words. Let me do a quickie on this thing. I think I got Laban here. It's 38:36. 38:36. Here's Laban. Laban. It's white. And it's applied to milk. And there's snow. And then you got 38:42, which is the moon. Lebanah. The moon as white. Lebanah. And we could just go into this TWOT 1074 and find all of this stuff here. But we're reading the McClinic and Strong, and you'll see all of this stuff here. They probably cover better here in the TWOT than they do with McClinic and Strong. Lebanon, brick, mortar. And then also this 6703, which is dazzling 6703. 6703. 6703. There it is. My beloved is white. Tzak. White, clear, plainly. And ruddy. The chiefest among 10,000. So ruddy is what? Red, isn't it? Red, yeah, ready. So here you go with the white and the red again. And then her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. Yeah, they are more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. So there's your red and white, all over the place. Sapphire stone, lapis lazuli, comes from sephar, which just means to scribe or to recount or to tell. And also is saphiros, a sapphire, a precious stone. Polishing, rubies. We can't get into all the colors, but I'm just sticking with black and white here. And 6703. And then we got Isaiah Snow. 6703. Where was I? Ecclesiastes and the moon and the white and complexion, the Song of Solomon. Kivar is 2358. That's in Daniel 7:9. Let me just put it up here. 23. I got it written in my book. 2358. 58. And 2357. Wax pale. So you got 2 times here. So you got Daniel 7:9. I beheld who the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white. And that's the Aramaic kivar. And the corresponding is the 2357, which is the Hebrew kavar, and that means to wax pale. And you'll see that in this verse here. Therefore, thus saith the Lord who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. So he's not going to wax pale. All right. Wax pale. All right. So those are the 2 there. And let me get back to this. Wax pale. So that's Daniel 7:9 and Isaiah 29:2. To the hair. All right. Another class of terms arises from the textures of a naturally white color. Sheesh and boots. I got these. I wrote these down too, didn't I? 8336. Whoops. 8336. Let me get this out of here. I'll just throw it up here. 8336, 8336. I probably got it down there already. Yeah, that's the linen. Okay. And that's the word that we're looking at here. That would be sheesh. You just got 2 S's there. Sheesh. And the other one is boots or butts. It's 948. 40. I put these down there already, so I'm doing everything twice here. And that's the white linen. Boots, fine linen, white linen. And this is sheish. This is linen, fine linen. The words appear to have been originally of foreign origin, but were connected by the Hebrews with roots in their own language descriptive of a white color. And if you go to Jusinius, you look up in it, you'll see this. The terms were without doubt primarily applied to the material, but the idea of color is also prominent, particularly in a description of the curtains of the tabernacle, the priest's vestments. Sheesh is also applied to white marble, as in Esther. A lot of colors in Esther. They were Ahasuerus and them. They had a lot of good colors going on. You try to picture those colors in my mind when she's talking about the colors, and they're all good. You know, the green, the black, the red, and the Song of Solomon, Shoshan, and the lily. In addition to these, we meet with busos, and karpas. That's like a green color, also descriptive of white textures. White was symbolical of innocence, hence the raiment of angels, Mark 16:5, John 20 and 12, of the glorified saints in Revelation 19:8 and 14. It is so described that it is also symbolical of joy, Ecclesiastes 9:8, and lastly, a victory in Zechariah 6:3, Revelation 6:2. In Revelation 6:2, the term lukos is applied exclusively to what belongs to Jesus Christ. And let me look at this here. White. H-I. Where's white? White. White. Okay. Let's see if it's up here. All right. Making a liar out of me now. Let's do this. C-U-B-W. H. H-I. U-H-I. We're going to go through this again. P. S. Why? It should be right up here. W-H-I-T. E. Here it is, Charles White, but I don't see the word white here for looking up just white. Nope. Okay. You click on it, it doesn't send you to anywhere. All right, that's cool. Most common of these are Laban, textures, see white, and then black. I'm not going to go back into that. So I'm going to go to black, but I'm going to go to this one here is black, right? Yeah, it's black. Okay. Although the Orientals do not wear black in mourning, yet, like the ancient Jews, they regard the color as symbolical of affliction, disaster, and privation. In fact, the custom of wearing black in mourning is a sort of visible expression of what is in the East a figure of speech. In Scripture, blackness is used as symbolical of afflictions occasioned by drought and famine, as in Job 30:30. Jeremiah, I could click on these and then hopefully I can get back to this. Job 30:30. 30:30. My skin is black upon me and my bones are burned with heat. Jeremiah 14:2. Why doesn't go to the page? Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Lamentations 4:8, I'm not going to click on it. Whether this be founded on any notion to the hue of the complexion was deepened by privation has not been ascertained, but it has been remarked by Chardin and others that in the periodical mourning of the Persians from Hussein, many of these who take part in the ceremonies appear with their bodies blackened in order to express the extremity of thirst and heat which Hussein suffered, and which, as is alleged, was so great that he turned black and the tongue swelled till it protruded out of the mouth. And you'll see Malachi 3:14. What profit is it that we keep the ordinances and that we have walked in blackness, or mournfully, actually, before the Lord of hosts, meaning that they had fasted in sackcloth and ashes. And we talked a little bit about the sackcloth and the black and all that stuff last week, the week before. Meanings they had fasted in sackcloth and ashes. Black occurs as a symbol of fear, In Joel 2:6, all faces shall gather blackness or darken with apprehension and distress. This use of the word may be paralleled from Virgil. The same expression which Joel uses is employed in Nahum 2:10, to denote the extremity of pain and sorrow. And in Zechariah, let me just throw this word up here so we can get all these verses here. Black. BLACK. The Strong's number, excuse me. 738. So you get six verses here for 3073. Sakor. Sakor is black, and Sakar is black. So there's got to be more Strong's numbers here for the. And 6937. So you got the word, and I think we looked at this already. 1989. Yeah, we did this a couple of weeks ago. Dark, be dark moment. We did mourning and darkness and gloominess. So all of this stuff goes back. Dark, black, gloomy, sackcloth. We did all of this. Kadar. All right, so that's another word, but we haven't seen this one here because it's not for mourning, but it could be. Talks about the priest looking at the skull and no black hair in it. If there's a black hair in there, the skull is healed. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. What's Kedar? I bet you Kedar means black. 6938. Yep, Kedar, black. 6937. Kadar, Mourn, black. Same thing. Against Kedar as the curtains of Solomon. Solomon, his head is as the most fine gold, his locks are bushy and black as a raven's. Talking about Jesus, actually, because this is the church. And then in the first chariot were red horses, and the second chariot were black horses, and the black horses which are therein go forth in the north country, and then the white go forth after them, and the grizzled go forth towards the south. I never understood the grizzled in there, but when you compare it to Revelation with the black horse, the white horse, the black horse, the pale horse, and the red horse, they have in here a grizzled horse, barod, grizzled, spotted, marked. Barad means to hail. Right. So I'm just jumping around here. So here's your black. And what was the other word here? My skin is black upon me. We got that. And this black here is Ishion. Oh, the pupil of the eye. Yeah, that's black. The pupil of the eye, Ishion, comes from Ish, which is man. And the other one is the feminine, which is the woman. That's I forget the word for that. Ish, Ish, Enosh, Adam, mankind. Ish. Can't get into all of this. All right. Black. There's another one for black, 5508. Kokareth. One time in the Bible. 5507 is a buckler. Okay, 380, 7840, because I am black. Shekakareth. One time in the Bible. All right. And then black, 6937, 39, we see that, black. And then in New Testament, we got 3189, Melas. We looked at this last week. Melas, black. There's 3 times, and these are the 3 verses here, talking about neither shall thou swear by the head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. So you got don't swear by anything. And when he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat him had a pair of balances in his hand. So there's the famine. And 6:12, and I beheld, when he opened the 6th seal, And lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And we talked about that as being there's no truth. The sun goes down, there's no truth, and because the sun is down, the moon has no color, because the moon gets its color from the sun. And sackcloth of hair, we looked at sackcloth. We got that already. Sackos, a garment-like material and clinging to the person like a sack, which was wont to be worn or drawn over the tunic instead of the cloak or the mantle by mourners, penitents, suppliants, and also by those who, like the Hebrew prophets, led an austere life, like John the Baptist was on there, on the banks of the Jordan in his camel hair and sack in the Old Testament. What is that? Is sack. We looked at that last week. So that, we're still looking at black here, right? Yeah. Nahum, the 4 chariots are represented, drawn by horses of different colors, which have usually been supposed to denote the 4 great empires of the world in succession. The Assyrian or Babylonian, the Persian, the Grecian, and the Roman, distinguishable by their order and attributes. I don't know if this is true. The black horses in that case seem to denote the Persian Empire, which by subduing the Chaldeans and being about to inflict a secondary heavy chastisement on Babylon, quieted the spirit of Jehovah. With respect to Chaldea, a country always spoken of as lying to the north of Judea, but the color here is probably, as elsewhere, only symbolical in general of the utter devastation of Babylon by the Persians. The history is good, but I don't know about what these colors mean. I think he means the figure of a man seated on a black horse with the balance to weigh the corn of the and the other necessities of life is employed in Revelation 6:5. We know that to signify great want and scarcity, and that's the famine. Threatening the world with famine, a judgment of God next to the sword, and that would be the red horse. Also, the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, in a figure employed as something to describe the state of the church during the last and most severe of the persecutions under the heathen Roman Empire. And that's also future. Great public calamities are often thus figuratively described by earthquakes, eclipses, and the like, as in the order of nature were inverted. So the connection with this subject, it may be remarked that black is studiously avoided in dress by all Orientals, except in certain garments of hair or wool, which are naturally of that color. Black is also sometimes imposed as a mark of humiliating distinction by dominant nations upon subject or tributary tribes, the most familiar instance of which is the obligation laid upon the Jews in Turkey of wearing black turbans. So that's that. Well, I didn't want to get too much into black, but we're staying with the white for right now. What's this here? Yeah, there was no white there. And then the dictionaries. I got a fly flying around here. Close them both. Close all tabs. There we go. And we looked at this, the fine linen. And then white, more ruddy. We looked at this, white, clear, clean. That's the sak. It's 4 verses. For so the Lord said unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place like a clear heat upon the herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. Isaiah 18:4. And Isaiah 32:4. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. So here you got clear, right? Sak, plainly. It means sak. And at that time it shall be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a dry wind of the high places in the wilderness toward the daughter of my people, not to fan, not to cleanse. Well, we know what's going to happen. Even a full wind from those places shall come into me. Now also will I give sentence against them. So he's talking about Babylon coming down. So you look at you got dry, plainly, clear, the English words, white for this one word. So how can we trust the English? We can't. We got to go with the original Hebrew, and that's what we study, one word at a time. And this is whiter. The Nazarites were purer, zakak, pure, clean, whiter than snow, shaleg, snow, shaleg and shalag, 2391. Just a nominative verb, only once. Shaleg, snow. 2 times in the Bible here. Now come, let us read them together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, that's red, they shall be white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be white, blood as wool. All right. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. Okay, when he puts his hand in his bosom, it comes out as white, leprous as snow. One of the miracles that Moses showed. All right. And then this other word here, we got the fine linen. We got that. Lukos. A little bit of somewhat dark. I'm sorry I'm jumping around, man. Like, my page just got blown up and I had a few things lined up, but I should have went back and finished off the morning and the gloominess and the darkness and everything. The root and its derivatives occur 17 times with the general idea of being weak, ineffective, or colorless. The idea of the eyes becoming weak in old age is prominent. The cognate and Akkadian means to be weak, and the Arabic means to grow disheartened. So be dark, wax dim, smoke, heavy, an adjective occurring chiefly in Leviticus 13, talking about the plagues in the skin. Sometimes it suggests colorless as a better translation, or dim or faded. Kaha means healing, according to Nahum 3:19. Nineveh's destruction cannot be done away. And that's the word keha. Kehe, somewhat dark, dim, faint, 957. And the apparent brightness, we looked at this, is Oha. So let me get these out of here. And the white is 23 verses. If you want to get into this with the Theological Dictionary, white. He that overcometh the same shall be clothed in white raiment. So you want to be in white raiment. That's the color of the priests, and that's what we are. We're priests and kings. So we're going to have that white raiment on. And then there, of course, the white horse. That's the beast, the first one. And then we get the white robes. And the white robes are made clean. How? In the blood. So the red blood makes the robes white. Go figure that one out. It's nothing to do with colors, literal colors, man. White robes with palms in their hands. Revelation 7 and 9, 7 and 13. What are these which are arrayed in white robes? Right. And white, great white throne, white clean. So we get the idea. It's a lukos, pure, clean, bright white. The fine linen. We're not going to get into all of that. Close this out. And we looked at these words here. White, Laban, of course. Laban, Laban, Libnah. Jacob took him rods of green poplar. Look at it, green poplar, and they put Libnah of the hazel and chestnut tree, and he peeled white streaks in them and made the white appear, which was in the rods. So he was doing some kind of magical thing to make his sheep different colors. Hazel, luz, almond tree, almond wood, chestnut tree, aramone, palm tree, and white streaks, Laban strikes in them, and made the white appear. So, and then the moon, of course. There's 3 verses here. Who is it that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army of banners? You'll read this Song of Solomon. We know it's all about the church, but you see the conversation goes on between the church, the woman, and the beloved, which is Christ. So you got the beloved, and if you want to figure out who's talking in here, you go to Song of Solomon, and you look up the words. So you find out who's talking, because sometimes you think the man is talking, but it turns out that the woman's talking. It depends on what they use. Where am I? There we go. I'll let you know. I got it in here. So I used, let me go with this here, just to show you an easy way to figure out who's talking when it comes to this, because I used to get confused. So, and then the Song of Songs, which is Solomon, is, let me kiss him with kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. Now, right now, she's talking, right? Because she's, let him kiss me. And you look at the where is it? Upright, love. So you got love here. This would be the verb. Okay, that's ahab. That's why I always say, when you see those old cartoons where the wolf is looking at the woman, his heart's pounding out of his chest, and he's going, ahubba, hubba, 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 hubba. That's what I think it comes from. Ahub, ahubba, hubba. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then you get down to the 158. Look, I'll just put it up here. 158. This way you know who's talking. 160. 160. So one's, wait a second. This is the feminine noun. Feminine noun. Right? So whenever you see this, you'll know who's talking. When you see the feminine noun for the word love here. He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. So that's her talking here. Stay with me, flagons, cuff me with apple. I am sick of love. That's her talking here. And that's her talking. But I thought there was more than this here for this to find out who's talking about the masculine noun. I don't. It's only time. Okay, Dowd. Okay, 1730 is another one here. 1730. No. Dowd. That's the masculine noun. Okay. Love. Okay. And we'll go into so here we go. That's the one. Beloved. My beloved. So masculine noun is talking about when it says my beloved, and it's dode, it's talking about the man. Okay. And when it says 074, 74, that's the, we'll take that out of there. 474. Okay. That's the word I'm looking for. My love. Raya. So that's the feminine noun. I have compared thee, O my love, to a company of horses in Pharaoh's chariots. Who's talking? The male or the female? You know by looking at this word. The man's talking. When this is used of, oh, my love, he's talking about the feminine, his wife. When she says, my beloved, she's using the masculine noun. So whenever you see my beloved, and it's this word, you'll know that she's talking. And whenever you see my love or my beloved, and you see this word, you know that he's talking. So something I stumbled on, because I was always confused. Who's talking here? Sometimes you read the beginning of the sentence and it sounds like her, she's talking, and when you then you read the second part of the sentence, you say, no, he's talking. So that was just a little something. I hope it helps. Okay, how to get on that? Right there. So we got this 3842. Mourn. Okay, yeah. And make white, Laban, make white. Oh, yeah, we got that. I was jumping around tonight. I'm sorry. I've been all over the place. But, and the glittering, exceeding white. We did this. Take this out of here now. We're getting down to, take that. Rama morning. This is what I was going to start with this, but I didn't. Finish up on the morning. And this is in Theological Dictionary 640. Probably don't have enough time to do it now, but a lot of this stuff is repeat of what we already did, because the same words are in here. I like there's a lot of them in here. We went through a lot of these here. Lamentation, that's the word threnos. I don't think we studied that yet. 23, 54, 55, 56. No, that's still on my list. All right. And then weeping is Klathmos. We didn't get into that yet, did we? 2799 Cleo. 2799 Cleo. Did I cross that out? I don't see it here. Either crossed out or not crossed out. So, and then morning, 3602, we got it. I don't think we did this either. Ordermos. Morning. We probably didn't, because it's only like 2 verses. 3602. And not by his coming only, but by the consolation wherewith he was comforted in you, when he told us of your earnest desire, your mourning, your fervent mind toward me, so that I rejoice more. 2 Corinthians 7:7, Paul. But this, I can't read all this now. There's a whole bunch of stuff on this. It means to mourn, to grieve, to bewail, to both sorrow, grief, and the painful event. It originally denotes sorrow, so that it's hard to differentiate between the lupe. We did lupe. We studied that extensively, I think, last week, 3076, lupe, to be sorry. Lupe, yeah, lupeo, we did that. Be sorrowful. And lupe and lupeo, sorrowful and be sorrowful, grief. Yeah, we studied this last week. I got it crossed off already, yeah. And then, so it's hard to differentiate between. Nevertheless, in most instances, it is a sorrow which is outwardly expressed in some way. For example, by tears or laments, which is at least associated with such expressions. So when crying, weeping, wailing, you'll know that somebody's going through the penthos. So suffering. And more of the words I use, especially for mourning for the dead, though also for other sufferings. And according to Stoic teaching, penthos is one of the pathae, and that's the suffering. Pathae is 3804. Pathae, or pathema, suffering, affliction. 3806. Pathos, inordinate affection or lust. So we got the suffering, that which one suffers or has suffered, external suffering. Inward state, enduring suffering. That's pathema. And also the lupe, which we looked at already. The wise man must obviously steer clear of penthos, for Pantheon rests on a false idea of real evil. Thus, it is a punishment for the apodeutos, who does not obey the divine orders. Apodeutos. Pedu is the learner or the child, the young child, the paidion, who does not know. A common theme in popular philosophical literature is the senselessness of penthos for the death of a relative. Why is it senseless? I don't know. A philosopher tells Queen Orsina, who is mourning the death of her son, that penthos was not present. They put capital P there, so like it's a god. Penthos was not present when Zeus assigned the warriors' honors of men up to the gods, and that when all these had been allotted, Zeus assigned him lamentations for the dead. Penthos, capital P, like the other gods, remains kindly disposed to those who honor him. How senseless it is then to perpetuate sorrow by lamentations. So you're not supposed to lament the sorrow. According to this, he promises Herod, when he is mourning the death of his son, that he will conjure up the shade of the deceased if Herod will tell him the names of 3 men who have never bewailed the dead. And Herod probably can't tell the names of 3 people who never bewailed the dead. So this guy's not going to call up his son again. So the impossibility of the condition is designed to show how foolish it is to take death so tragically. And we don't take it tragically. We know that, when somebody dies, we mourn. But we know that our death is just the beginning of our life. So that's why we don't mourn for it, Penthos and Pantheon are frequently used in the Septuagint, mostly for derivatives from, and we've been through all of these words. If you throw this into the Septuagint, 30, real quick here, Septuagint would be the Greek Old Testament. All right, baby. Greek Old Testament. What's the word? I was just looking at 3997. All right. And you'll look at these words. And Esau hated his Jacob because of the blessings wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. And I know the number. We looked at this already. Come on. All right. You're going to make a liar out of me now. The days of mourning, 60. We looked at this. I'm sure we did. Mourning. Yeah, that's the TD6. Okay. And the word is Abel or Ebal. Abel. Mourning. We looked at that. And there's another word, when you throw this in the Septuagint, it comes back as 5594. We studied this already. Mourn. And that's TWOT 1530. Yes, we looked at that. So that's the word safad. So you got Ebal, safad, and the other word here is 1058. Oh, 1058. And that's wept, weep, baka. We looked at that also, 243. The word is baka. So we looked at these three already. Baka, safad, and Ebal. All right, that's in my notes. So both noun and verb denote the sorrow expressed in tears, lamentations, and rites, especially mourning for the dead, which does, of course, include individual sorrow of heart. And you got 37, 34, Genesis 37. Just going to clear up this morning thing, and I think this will be the last of it. 37, 34. 34, we started late anyway. And Jacob rent his clothes with sackcloth upon his loin and mourned for his son many days. And there's the mourned, Abal, or Abal, and he put the sackcloth on, the sack. And, okay, sackcloth, we did that already. And which takes place according to the fixed custom, whether on the part of the individual or in some instances on that of the whole people or a group. Deuteronomy 34 and 8. Deuteronomy 34 and 8, the whole group. 34. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. They wept. There's the word 1058. That's the baka. So the days of weeping, biki, and mourning, Abel, or dead. So this is just throwing that penthos into the Old Testament, and that's what we come up with. And we've been through all this already. So penthos plays a special role, one, in prophecies of disaster. Sorrow will come on Israel or Jerusalem. So that would be Amos 5:16. Sorrow will come on Israel or Jerusalem. Amos 5:16. Therefore, the Lord, the God of hosts, the Lord thus said, wailing shall be in all the streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas. And they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentations to wailing. So we talked about that last week too. The people that they hire, the actors who would walk behind, weeping, wailing, throwing up dust and ashes, and crying, and they were acting. They were, such as skillful in lamentation and wailing. So we got the words here. We got wailing, misped. We saw that already. And the highways, alas, alas. And that's the word ho, alas. They're called a husband mourning, Ebal. Skillful in what? Lamentation. Nihi. Did we look at this? I don't think we looked at this. Nihi. Wailing. The verb refers to the wailing or that accompanies mourning. Okay. Divine prescription summons such activity accompanying a funeral dirge in anticipation of the forthcoming judgment of Israel. Whew. Man, we didn't look at this. Jeremiah 9. He's got all this wailing in Jeremiah 9. And Micah joins a similar lamenting over God's condemned but rebellious people in Micah, and we looked at this already, Micah 2:4 and Amos 5:16. And that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he hath divided our friends. And also Amos 5:16, we read that this word is used of the mourning for the divinely condemned multitudes of Egypt. Son of man, wail for the multitude of Egypt and cast them down, even her and the daughters of the famous nations, unto the nether parts of the earth, with them that go down into the pit. We didn't look at this word, but we're looking at it now. Wailing, the same as in Jeremiah 31:5. Thus saith the Lord, a voice was heard in Ramah. We looked at that. All of those words in Jeremiah 31:15, and also the one in, what was it, Matthew 2:18, something like that. Both are inadequate in Micah 2:4. Our noun represents the result of neha. It is difficult to distinguish this result from that, and ana, to lament. The noun occurs 7 times. And so that was a quickie on this naha, 5092. Niha, nihi, naha, wailing, lamentation, lament and wail. Good. What was I in this book here? So, oh boy, let me see. Nature, prophecies come to Israel, okay, or its enemies. Nature itself will share the sorrow, and they give a bunch of verses talking about nature sharing in the sorrow. Let me just give you one, Hosea 4:3. Hosea 4:3. 4:3. Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea shall be taken away. Everyone, the land mourn. And there's other verses there. Sometimes we read of present joy being turned into mourning. Amos 8:10. 8:10. Might have read this a couple of times. I will turn your feasts into mourning and all your songs into lamentation, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins and baldness upon every head, and I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Whew. The mourning, lamentation. What's this lamentation? Kinya. Kinoah, lamentation. We didn't look at this. They're coming up. They're popping up. 70:15. Lamentation. And David lamented with his lamentation over Saul. 70:15 and 69. 69. 69. Throwing at you here, man. 69, 69. David lamented. He's got both of them in here. Kun, lament, warn, mourning woman, TWOT 2018. It's not much there, but it's too much to read right now. Kun denotes the activity whereby mourn is intoned a poem of bereavement. It differs from other words by mourning by having this very limited use. We saw Ebal, Safat, perform that. Word occurs 6 times. Lamentation, dirge. This noun represents a poem which is chanted or sung. It is to be distinguished from anya, mourning, by uttering various ejaculatory sounds. Nihai, misfed, we read that. Now, okay, the lamentation was sung during the mourning rites of prophetically an impending death or of destruction. It constituted the chief funeral ceremony. Simple forms consist of sharp, repeated cries. So this is like a wailing, a loud, lamentable cry. Micah 1:8. He says, "Therefore I will wail and howl. I will go stripped and naked. I will make a wailing like the dragons, a mourning as the owls." 1 Kings 13:30, and he laid his carcass in his own grave, and they mourned over him, saying, "Alas, my brother." So this is like a crying or a singing or mourning. The rite was performed by close relations, close friends, and everyone present, and often by professional male and female mourners. We saw that already, but especially women. The lamentation is the closest Hebrew poetry comes to using meter. Wow. Although the Kina meter could be used for other purposes other than mourning. In Psalms 19:7 and 9, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandments of the Lord are pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. Judgments of the Lord are, I don't know what it has to do with anything. Some scholars note that biblical elegies have no religious content, although this is true in some instances. 2 Samuel 1:19. It is not always the case, since in the best example of Kina meter, this is like a song, there is much religious content. All right. So that was a quickie on this Keen, Kun, and Kinya, lamentation. So we'll take that. It wasn't on the list, but we'll take it off. I like that. So it is also common in description of the fate of divine judgment, which has overtaken Israel. Okay. Here too, nature shares the grief, and we again read of joy being turned into sorrow. Lamentations 5:15. In some instances, this sorrow includes sorrow for the sin of the people. The word also plays a special role in prophecies of salvation. Mourning will end. Isaiah 6:20. Isaiah 6:20. Isaiah 6:20. No, it's not 6:20. It's Isaiah, where am I? 60:20, excuse me. 60:20. The sun shall no more go down, neither shall the moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. That's future. We're looking at that in the future. So we'll have truth. We'll have the light. So it'll be turned to joy. And there's a whole bunch of verses that have in your mourning turn to joy. And Apocalyptic describes the lamentation of Zion and its transformation to joy. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in here talking about primitive Christianity. So in the New Testament, Pantheon denotes the sorrow expressed in lamentation and tears. 2 Corinthians 12:21. 2 Corinthians 12:21. 12:21. I think this is him, Paul crying, is it? Unless when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and that I shall bewail many which have sinned already, and have not repented of the uncleanness and fornication and lasciviousness which they have committed. So, wailing there. Man, humble me that I bewail. This is the 3996. This is the Pentheo. Okay. 96. And it is often combined with Cleo. Cleo is 27.99. I don't think we got into this. 27.99. This is like a call. Yeah, that's the weeping Cleo, to bewail. And we'll get into some of these words, but that's a Matthew 2:18. Kaleo. The same is true of Penthos in 17 and Revelation 21:14. Penthos is associated with Crope. Okay, that's different. That's another word. Okay, all right. That can be specific sense of mourning for the dead may be seen in Matthew 9:15. Let me just put the word up, 3996. Matthew 9:15. And Jesus said, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them. Then shall they fast. And then Revelation 18:7. We'll read this, put this in context here. 18:7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and I shall see no sorrow. So this is Babylon. Sorrow, 39.97. That's the penthos. What's the torment? Oh, basanismos. That's torment. Yes, I got that in my note. That's okay. And then 1 Corinthians 5:2. Well, this whole thing in Revelation 18 goes on down to talk about the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And this is future. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And this is after America loses its gist in the world here. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reasons of her costless. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. So they'll be looking at us saying, what happened to this great country? We have to lose our sovereignty in order for this beast to come in and take over. So James 4:9, be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. All right. Lamentation, neither is it quiet sorrow of heart. What is meant is passionate grief, which leads to corresponding action. Okay. So we got to weep and wail over our sins and mourn and stop doing them. And that's the action that it's talking about. They need a corresponding action. Hina artheke. I can't look all of these words up. Clothmos, 2805, is it? 2805? 2805. Weeping, yeah. Again, that Clothmos, 2805. Clothmos. Just look that up. Weeping, gnashing, wailing, gnashing of teeth, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Whew. That's rough stuff, man. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Woo! And they all wept sore and fell on Paul's neck and kissed him. Yeah, that's a rough story there. They weren't going to see him anymore. I would fall on his neck and kiss him too. Genesis 23:2 has a lot of words in it that we'd have to translate into the New Testament. Genesis 23:2. I just want to wrap this penthos up. And Sarah died in Kirjath-Arba, the same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And we'd have to throw these in the Old Testament. So Genesis 23:2. Genesis 23:2. And we'll look at the Greek Old Testament here. And we'll see the words here. Apothnesco, Sarah, Pole, Jacob, Arbach, Estin, a Koilomati, Hebron, and Canaan. 64, Erkomai, the Abraham, Kuthas, Capto. Here we go. Cut down, lament. Capto is to chop, to cut, to lament, to mourn. So Capto, and that's Sarah and Pentheo. Here it is. Pentheo. To grieve. So you got two words here. You got Capto and Pentheo. 2875 and 3996. We'd have to look them up. And then 2870 is the other one. Capeo 2870. I'm throwing these words at you. 2870. That's lamentation. Devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made a great lamentation over him. Kopetos, and that comes from kopto, which means to bewail or to lament. I'm not going to get into studying all these words, and I'm just giving them to you. 2870 and 2875. Look at that there. 2875. It's 8 verses. Yeah, the kids that danced and mourned, and you didn't. The pipers. They spread their garments in the way, and they cut down branches. So kopto, that's the kop is the word to cut. It's and they all wept and bewailed her. All right. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and also they which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth will wail. Kopto, because of him, even so, amen. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously, strenuously, right? Deliciously. Where is it? Deliciously. Streneo, live deliciously, to live in a strain. Strenuously, shall bewail her. Cleo, and lament. Kopto. For her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And we'll see that soon enough. But I'm still in this 3996, but it takes you all over the place, all of these different synonymous words. And when you chase them throughout the Bible here. Let me see, Revelation 18, we read the blessings in Matthew 5:4 is to be taken eschatologically. It takes up the prophetic promises, denotes eschatological consolation. Matthew 5:4, here we go. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. They shall be parakaleo, right? Yeah, parakaleo. All right. And we know the Comforter is the Holy Spirit. Blessed are they in the morning, but they shall be comforted. So the mourning to which the promise refers to is that of men who suffer under the present age, which is an age of suffering. And also lupe, again, the Comforter stands in synonymous parallelism to the promise of the other Beatitudes, such as the poor in spirit, the meek, and hunger and thirst, and their hunger and thirst for righteousness. Hence, the sorrow referred to here is not to be regarded too narrowly as penitent sorrow for sin. On the other hand, it is evident that not all who mourn are called blessed. The reference is plainly to those who see this suffering age as it is and who are not led astray by its charms, like the Legantes, 1070. So we're not led away by the charms of this world. So we're not going to take the mark of the beast and all that good stuff. Woe unto you that are full, for you shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, and that's the word. Jaleo. And blessed are you that hunger. You shall be filled. Blessed are you that weep now, for you shall laugh. So the pantheon of these men is a sign of their demarcation. What do you have, the mark of the beast or the mark of God? That's what your demarcation is from this age and of this expectation of the kingdom of heaven. Basilia ton oreno. Hence, one cannot fail to include penitent sorrow for sin in this pantheon. Penthon. So we finished up this penthon, and it took us in a lot of different places. I could have, should have, would have started with that, but I didn't. We got into the colors. We got into black and white, and we're done with mourning and weeping, and hopefully, well, there's still a few more, but I think we're done with it. I'm depressed enough. So, and then we still got, look at all this we didn't look at here. I'll leave this up here just to see. Take this down. We mourned and piped for you, and you didn't come. The fine linen, we'll take this down. And we'll say a prayer shortly here. The white streaks. Whew, that's good. The lightnings, glittering. Well, we didn't really get into this too much, but we did. Yeah, we did a little bit of that. Anyway, take a moment. Thank you, God, for this study. Just going through these words. That's all we get. All we can do. Try to figure out what they mean, and hopefully it comes together. You know, the gray matter in the brain starts meeting up, and we get a better understanding of what you want from us, and what you want for us, and what how we got to act with each other. We got to stop this foolishness of this world and what's going on around us, and just look at you. That's basically all we got to do. Is just keep our eyes focused on you and what's going to happen, and not to worry about anything. We love you, give you the praise and glory, and we do everything in Jesus' name. Amen. So that's that. What's this? I didn't do the burnished brash, glittering. We didn't get into this. 3851 is Laba, flame. We'll get into that some other time. And that's that. Oh, let me stop recording before we say something we don't want to say. Thank you, God, for everything.